Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. So this is just a little update about my journey in the voxel world. Um, in the videos that I have posted so far, I wasn't using my own code. As I said, I was using a code that I grabbed on the internet. I wanted to try to write my own code. So what I did is, after the last video, I deleted the code I was using, and I spent the last few days writing my own baby mini voxel engine, finding my own algorithm, and I came up with something that works. I'm going to show you this in an instant. But seeing how slow, glitchy, and inefficient it was, I sort of reconsidered my position about not using the code that I have downloaded. And so I re-downloaded the code, re-adapted it for the Unreal Engine, which was quite fast, fortunately, because I had already done it once. And I included both engines in the current version of my game, and I'm going to show you a comparison between both engines, and you will see how much better the professional code, so to speak, is compared to my baby amateur code. No discussion about that, which is quite not surprising, because obviously this code has been made by a researcher. And my code has been sort of improvised in 10 days with no background in the field, so it cannot compete with the previous one. So I don't want to spend too much time reinventing the wheel, so I think I'm going to stick with the old code. So let's hit the play button. Switch to English here, and creating a voxel array. So this is the voxel array here. Oh, what's happening with my my controllers are not good. Oh yeah, I switched to English, so I have to go to an English keyboard to get the WASD keys working correctly. Okay, so this is the array. This is the voxel terrain created by my engine. You can see that the voxel engine here is checked, and you can already see that there is some little glitch here, but it will become much more apparent when going to a more complicated function, 3D Perlin noise. And you can see here that if I unchecked this checkbox here, I'm going to use the first voxel engine, and you can see that it's much better. So this is my engine, and this is Mr. Jew engine. You can see here, maybe if we take a closer look, you can see that my engine is adding some polygons. There are normal problems, there are some glitches, there are here some polygons that are there and shouldn't be there. So all in all, it doesn't do too bad a job, but it's really not very good. And if I push to 64 by 64 by 64, it does it does a little better here. You can see that the terrain is more like it should be. But when going back into low res, it's quite crappy here. You can see by comparison the code of Mr. Jew is much better. So another thing is the time it takes for me to compute all these things. If I go from 1 to 6, so obviously I get a square. If I go to LOD of 6, so 64 by 64 by 64, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So about 7 seconds to compute 64 by 64 by 64 terrain. And by comparison, if I use the other engine, so let's go to 6 here, 0, 1, and you can see that in less than 1 second it gives me a result that is much better than mine. So this is it. You can see that my engine is about 10 times slower than his engine, and it's a bit glitchy in the low resolution, and obviously I want to use low resolution in my game because they are faster to compute. So as I don't want to, as I said, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to spend months maybe optimizing my own code, because at the end I would probably come up with something that would be not too far of his code. So I prefer to spend my time trying to see what I can do from here, rather than spending my time trying to arrive here. If anyone is interested, as for further reference, the code I'm using, so the code I have been using in the first video and the code I will continue to use from now on, come originally from Mr. Tao Ju. He apparently invented the dual contouring method with a few colleagues here, and his paper is available on his web page. This is the original paper, you can download it. And he also gives a Java version of his code here. So this is not the code that I've been downloading, because someone named Nick on his voxel blog has adapted the code from Mr. Ju into C++ for opengl. So what I did is download Nick's code, which he shares publicly and freely. I downloaded his code and I just adapted it from opengl to the Unreal Engine. So basically my code is Mr. Ju code adapted for C++ and for the Unreal Engine. So if anyone is interested, and anyone beginning in the field of voxel here, those are very, very good starting point. You get for free an algorithm and a code that are very good, very efficient. Alright, I think it's all. So thank you guys for watching this. Obviously, if you have any question, please ask them in the comment section. I will be glad to answer. And in the meantime, well, have a nice day and bye bye.